Astronomy GCSE Topic 12, Extraterrestrial Life. Now, could there be life, or could there have been life, elsewhere in our solar system? Well, there are three candidates that you need to know about, and they're all moons. Two of them are moons of Saturn, one is a moon of Jupiter. So the first one, Saturn's largest moon, Titan, and it's got a thick atmosphere which has got organic compounds in, including methane. Now, methane on Earth comes from living things. You know, some of you lot produce quite a bit of methane probably, if you've had beans for tea. Now, it's too cold at the moment for life, but maybe in the past there may have been life on Titan, and that's where this methane came from. Now, the second one is Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter, and we know that liquid water is essential for life, and liquid water has been discovered on Europa beneath a crusty surface. Now, is Europa warm enough? Well, in a previous video we talked about tidal forces. Tidal forces kind of squishing and stretching these moons, and that creates friction and that creates a heating effect, and that could be why we have liquid water. Okay, so Europa is a possibility. And then the third one is another Saturn moon, Enceladus, and Enceladus has an icy surface with liquid water underneath, and occasionally jets of water spurt out through cracks in the surface and go into space. And looking at these jets of water, organic compounds have been detected, and organic compounds are the building blocks of life. So, what are the chances of there being life on an exoplanet? Well, consider this. It is thought that nearly all stars have at least one exoplanet. And in our galaxy, there's about 200 billion stars, and there's about 200 billion galaxies. I think the question should be, is it possible that we are the only planet that does have life on it? You know, in my opinion, there's no direct evidence, but the chances of there being life on other planets, I think, is pretty high. If there is life, then the planet has to be, as far as we know, in what we call the Goldilocks Zone, as in at a certain distance from the star where it isn't too hot and it isn't too cold. It's just right for there to be liquid water. Okay, it's the zone around a star where liquid water can exist, is the habitable zone. The hotter the star is, then the wider the habitable zone is, and the closer to the star it starts. The Goldilocks Zone. This fella, Frank Drake. Now, in 1961, he came up with an equation, and this equation works out the number of stars in our Milky Way. Now, beg your pardon, it works out the number of civilizations in our Milky Way that could get in contact with us. Okay, so n equals, and there's these 7 factors here. I'm not saying you should learn this equation off by heart, but some of the things in the equation should be obvious. And if you can quote 3 or 4 of them, then I think you'll be okay. The rate of star formation, how many of the stars have got planets, how many of these planets could support life, how many of these planets did life actually start on, is the life intelligent, does an intelligent civilization emerge, does it develop the technology necessary to communicate with us, and then lastly, a bit ominously, how long does this civilization last for before it dies out for whatever reason? The Drake equation. Now, Frank Drake never intended it to actually give you an accurate answer. The whole point of it was just to get you thinking about the different factors that could be involved. If you actually estimate the values for the different factors and work out the number of civilizations, you get between 20 and 50 million. So this basically tells us that perhaps there are lots and lots of civilizations out there which are capable of communicating with us. SETI. SETI is the search for extraterrestrial life. The mission of the SETI Institute is to explore, understand and explain the origin and nature of life in the universe and the evolution of intelligence. And basically what they are doing is they're looking at the sky with radio telescopes, and they're picking up lots and lots and lots of signals from all directions. They're using computers to analyze these signals, and they're looking for some signs of intelligence. Maybe one of these civilizations is trying to get in touch with us. What you can actually do is download the SETI screensaver and download chunks of data, and your computer, when you're not doing anything, can actually analyze this data. Your computer may discover alien life in another world. The SETI screensaver. Now, there's a very large number of stars about 30 light years away. Is there any way that we could have a conversation with them if they are that far away? One thing I know is that it's very, very unlikely that they're going to come and visit us if they are 30 light years away. But is there any way we could have a chat with them? Think about that. Okay, benefits of discovering extraterrestrial life. Well, the most important thing is that it increases our knowledge and understanding of the universe. You know, scientists learn about stuff, and it would be a fantastic discovery. For example, it would help us to understand our own evolution. If this civilization that we made contact with or discovered, perhaps we might be able to share technology with these people. We may find places where humans can live in the future. Now, the dangers of discovering extraterrestrial life, it could cause panic. I mean, there are people who believe that we are special in some way, and it would destroy their universe, really. The alien organisms may cause diseases. If you look at kind of in the South Pacific, when Westerners first arrived there, the natives, a lot of them died from things like the common cold. These aliens may not be friendly. I mean, it's okay if we make contact with Vulcans, but if we make contact with the alien off the Alien film, I think we're going to have problems. They may want our resources. They may be much, much more advanced than us, and we may be very tasty. Okay, if you watch the series V, that's a fantastic science fiction series.